Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we welcome back a dear friend of the show, a dear friend of mine, a brother from another mother, Mike, the Mexican Iron Man. Now, I'm going to be asking Mike what he's sipping on, and I'm not going to assume it's tequila. But I will say that I've heard that tequila is good for you, but I'd take that with a pinch of salt. Then again, you know what they say about drinking too much tequila. No, seriously, I'm asking because I don't remember. Anyway, let's get to it. Top off your glasses and strap in. Vámonos. Yes, it is Mexican Iron Man. I've been looking so forward to having you on my channel again. Thanks so much for coming by. What you sipping on, my friend?
Tonight would be the Elijah Craig small batch.
Okay.
Elijah Craig Scotch. Got it. Decided that the bottle's been sitting around a little long, and it's time to move on to the next one. So, and I know,
Fair enough.
and I know that I saw the fine print on my invitation. We've been talking about this for like 2 months and
Yeah.
figuring out dates for a month now. But I saw on the bottom, on the back of the card, all the way at the little bar, it says this invite for what is it says. Let me read it here. It says ESG points in diversity and inclusion.
Oh, there you go. I didn't think about that. When I was doing my monologue, I was thinking through brother from another mother. I could easily translate that into Spanish, but hermano and madre don't rhyme. It doesn't
No,
translate very well.
no, there's not. It's funny you say that because there's not a lot in Spanish that does rhyme a lot. Although there's beautiful poetry, but it's not like poetry is in English. So,
Dude, I've
we're
said,
here.
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said so. So I'm happy to be here, and let's go ahead and switch the little glass a little bit and have the first sip of the show. Hello.
Absolutely. Um, Let me real quick ask, greet my usually my designated driver. I don't know what you're sipping on tonight, Age of Boomer. What you sipping on?
I've got an Arizona iced tea with lemon, and I would also like to admit that I also love guacamole.
Oh,
Okay?
But
oh.
I thought, Mike, you were allergic to
Well, it's
avocado.
funny. So the joke of that intro was made by, I believe, Coach and Loki, or Loki and Coach. I'm not sure. I believe it was mostly Coach. I don't know who. I know they both contribute to that
Sure.
trailer that you just played.
Yep.
But that's the joke about he loves guacamole is the joke because anyone that knows me knows I'm actually allergic to avocado.
Oh.
And so when it says
Gotcha.
he loves guacamole, that's actually an inside joke. They're like, no, my Mexican Iron Man absolutely does not like guacamole. In fact, he hates avocados. I mean, I go by Mexican Iron Man, but have a newsflash, Troy. Like, I'm Mexican, but like not like that Mexican. Like,
Well,
I mean, like,
you're definitely you got the Spanglish thing going on, right?
yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig
Well, I
it.
didn't learn to speak Spanish till I moved to Miami when I was in my like late 20s. I didn't grow up.
Really?
I didn't grow up speaking a lick of Spanish. In fact, Grandpa had this rule where if anybody spoke Spanish in the house,
Uh-huh.
especially the grandkids, but it was pretty much for the grandkids. It wasn't for the mom, aunts, or uncles.
Mm-hmm.
It was more or less like if anyone spoke any Spanish, that we got our asses whooped.
My great grandfather was the same way about Italian. That's why my
Yeah.
mom didn't really learn any Italian, and I didn't really speak any Italian until I got to college. I audited a class. I'm glad I audited it because I would have failed. It was too much like Spanish that I got completely lost and confused, you know. But yeah, I actually speak more Spanish than I do Italian.
Dude, I've heard you on Latino Slant. I'm like this freaking guy. But I'm like, we'll get you hosting Midnight Edge Espanol, Troy, one day.
I'm not that good.
I'll talk to Andre and Tom and like, oh, you know what? I should send you a link and then drop you in on the show. Like me and Paulie should prank you.
And I'll be like
no, Paulie, you know, like we'll like send you the link. It'll be the admin link. You'll like drop in and you'll be like behind the scenes in the StreamYard, and like everybody will be like, it'll be like an I Love Lucy episode. And Troy will be like, Paulie, I'm home.
I had a buddy in high school who he was Mexican. His dad had a real rough time with English, but obviously he was really working on it. Mom, totally bilingual. And his dad's newspaper was there, and I was trying to read it. I couldn't understand a lot of it. And his father came home. He goes, "Can you read?" And I said, "See." And I started reading phonetic, because the great thing about Spanish, if you know a little bit of Spanish, you can read it. I had no idea what the heck I was saying, but I could read it, and the pronunciation was perfect. And then he starts speaking Spanish to me, and I'm like, no, I don't understand a word. I just can read it. He goes,
Dude,
oh.
And then sometimes people say like I don't understand. If you speak Spanish, how come you can't understand that other guy? Well, that's like English, you know. There's the Queen's English, and you know, Age Boomin. I will be meeting for tea and scones at 3 o'clock.
Yeah,
Age
my
Boomin,
mom could not
tea and
understand
scones
British.
at 3 p.m. Yes, you know, and then there's like you know, like
Cheerio.
shit howdy.
No, it's true. My mom could not understand British. I had to translate for my aunt, who was British. Otherwise, my mom wouldn't know anything.
And then if you're in the South, it'd be like, I'm hotter than a June bug on a Georgia peach in the middle of August.
I get it. Real quick, let me not ignore the chat. I want to make sure everyone feels included. Stephanie Janicek was the first one here. She stopped by to say hi, but I know she wasn't feeling too well, so I knew she couldn't hang around. Hope you're feeling better, Stephanie. Hope you're listening, you know, on the rewatch or whatever. Artificer Joni, good morning, my friend. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. David Pensek, so glad you're here. You are awesome. Mexican Iron Man, I have given you a wrench so that you can drop links to whatever you want. OnlyFans if you want. I don't care.
Wait, what?
I don't know. Whatever. Sir Torrin Clegane, good to see you, my friend. Artificer Joni's back, so I know you're actually here. And of course, the beautiful Netter of Netter's Network. My beautiful blue wrench. How you doing, sweetie? I love you too. Let's see here. I know there was a couple others because I knew I saw the name The Lovely Sherry. We were talking about you backstage because you are so encouraging. Every time I see you in the chat, it encourages the heck out of me. That's why I sing songs for you now on Saturday night. And Captain Trek, my friend, started out my day with you. I'm ending my day with you. So glad you're here. Sorry I couldn't jump into your stream, but congratulations on, I think it's 650 subscribers. Congratulations.
Yeah, 652 this morning when I looked.
Nice. Zelfield Guerrero. Don't know the name, but I am so glad you're here, and I hope I earn your subscription tonight because, well, it would just really encourage me if I got more subscribers.
Zelfield's around. I know I've seen him around a lot of places. He's around.
Oh, you brought him. See, well, that's really why I had you here.
I brought him.
Bring in some
I would like to think if I brought anybody, it'd be the lovely Sherry, kind of like a virtual date night. You know what I mean, kind of thing.
Ooh,
you know?
Sherry, Mikey. I'm thinking.
Although I'm mad, I'm a little bit mad at her because we were like joking around one time and she put a virtual. Oh God, what do you call those? Those chastity iron thongs on me. A virtual chastity iron thong. Ooh, some kind of like secret code. and it's hampering my dating life. Troy Pacelli, age boomer,
Is
age
it though?
boomer.
Is it though? Does it really make a difference though, Mikey?
Well,
See, yeah.
well.
See. But
a virtual chastity belt.
Don't be upset with her. Take it as a compliment. She's trying to keep you all to herself.
She says I can't have any nights or crazy weekends in Vegas. And I keep asking for the security code, and it's like no joy, no dice.
Well, does she? Maybe you guys go to Vegas together. Maybe I'm thinking.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point. But first, I got to get out of tax season. Is my first thing. I can't get anywhere until I get out of tax season.
Just a peek behind the curtain, everybody. Mexican Iron Man is such a good friend of mine. He has cleared his schedule except to come to my channel. Well, really because of Netter. But be that as it may. This is tax season, and he's a tax guy, and this is his busy time, but he still made time to come hang out with us. So everybody, put a clapping hands or something in the chat for Mexican Iron. Sub to his channel. You'll see his link down in the description box, along with Age of Boomers and Netters and mine. And if you want to buy me a drink, there's a link down there for that too. Speaking of drinks, anyone want to guess what I'm drinking tonight?
Blue milk.
It's Jake Skywalker, Star Wars, Disneyland, Galaxy Quest, or Galaxy. What they call it? Galaxy. What the hell do they call that thing, Boomer?
Galaxy's Edge.
Galaxy
Edge. Quest would be a Tim Allen in it. And
okay. Galaxy Edge, Buffalo Island, Walrus Milk.
Not quite. Boomer was right. In fact, hold on just a second. What is a bigger part of a forceful breakfast than cool, fresh, blue Bantha milk? And what better way to start your weekend than dark blue milk cooler from Sid's Parlor in Ord Mantell City? Relax, hydrate, and enjoy dark blue milk cooler with friends. It may not be your only hope, but it's not a bad one. There you go. Yes, and this is my own formula. I went online and found the Disney, recipe, and I was like, no wonder people didn't like it. So I came up with my own, and I did a previous stream where I shared the recipe, but it's rum chata, coconut rum, blue curacao, and pineapple juice, which almost makes it almost a little green. So I put a little extra blue curacao in it. And let me tell you, of all the drinks I drink on this channel, this is the one Nanette is actually sharing because she doesn't care for booze. She likes this drink. But
we got Leia Plus.
Yes, I was about to get to that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. I noticed, and I'm very
she's a big
excited.
fan of the Mexican Iron Man. She was.
See, I was just gonna say, Leia Plus Size. I haven't seen you in so long. Welcome back, girl. You came back from Mexican Iron Man. But that's okay. I totally get it. I mean, I follow Mexican Iron Man around too, so I don't blame you.
Can I ask a question of our guest
I did
here?
say hi to David. Yes, please do.
Mexican Iron Man, are you a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and maybe even more particular the old games back in the day?
No, never played the games. And it's funny that you bring up TMNT because that's one of the few properties, one of the few fandoms that, like Tom Connors, who I obviously stream with all the time because I'm on Team Night 6. I never got into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at all. Never owned any toys. Never. And the thing about me is I'm real. Well, you know me, Boomer. I mean, I'm real blunt. Like if I'm into something, I will tell you I'm into something. If I'm kind of mediocre, lukewarm, But no, TMNT, and I just never got into. I never liked any of the. I think I saw 2 movies. Didn't like either one. Never got into the cartoons. It just wasn't. It just didn't appeal to me. I don't know. I'm not. And it's weird because like He-Man, I loved. I'm a hardcore He-Man fan. It's just. But one of the things I say a lot of times, sometimes people say like Babylon 5, I don't know shit about. Never watched any of that either. I know, right? See, I get the same boomer. I get the same reaction. But I was always like I was always a book nerd as well as a sci-fi nerd.
Mm.
And the way I explain it to myself is like, look, I wouldn't have done good in school or eventually gone to college or survived college and all that. I mean, there's only so much time. You can't be into everything. You just
That's
can't.
true. This is true.
At least not me. I mean, for me, like, once I realized I actually didn't want to be a freaking loser and I actually wanted to do well in school and, graduate and not drop out or get kicked out because I was a bit of a troubled youth.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then you joined Cobra Kai, and
No. No. No, dude, I used to steal. Me and my buddies, like, we used to notice that the office supplies would get delivered usually on Monday mornings early. So we'd go to the high school loading ramp. We'd get all the supplies, and then we'd go to the Berryessa East San Jose flea market, and we'd sell shit that we stole from the school on Wednesdays at the flea market. Some people call it a swap meet, but that's how we.
that's funny.
And then we graduated to stealing bikes and radios and hubcaps.
Well, see, you were real hood, weren't you?
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Real quick, I want to answer Zelfred's question. He's asking what the ratios are for this recipe. Okay, so go with the way I did it was equal parts coconut rum and pineapple juice, double portion of rum chata, and then blue curacao to the color you're looking for. Little secret is I add a little bit of coconut extract because it just makes it taste a little yummier. And technically, it adds a little bit extra. I mean, literally everything but the pineapple juice is alcohol. So, I mean, it's pretty strong. Netter's getting loopy. So we're gonna be counting on you tonight, Aged Boomer.
So it's an intergalactic. It's like
Kegger.
an intergalactic.
It's an intergalactic kegger.
And it's an intergalactic, like, Long Island iced tea.
Kind of. Yeah. So I just had to put up the soft warm fuzzies here. Troy Pacelli, I'm guilty for a Mexican, but how can you turn down this team of you, Mexican and Aged? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leia plus size.
So sweet.
Free rabbit chicken tacos for Leia.
Absolutely.
So Mexican Iron Man is what's your favorite, like, thing that you were a fan of growing up? Was He-Man number one, or was it other things?
Okay, so well, it depends how old I was, what my favorite thing was. But if I had to, let's see, let me think. How would I do this? Okay, so I would say, I don't know if how would I do a ranking? If I were to do a ranking, I would say Battlestar Galactica is all time number one.
Really, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. The number two would go with Star Trek.
Okay.
Then 3 and 4 would be a swap between He-Man and Star Wars, followed by Space 1999.
Oh,
Space 1999.
like that show.
So for me, and when I say so for me, and of course Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined series, I love it to death. But I mean, I love all the original quirky 70s and 80s shit. Like, I love it all. The movie, like, all the, I love it all. So for me, like, Star Wars, like, each one had a different lesson. Star Trek was the property that it was like, I was a latchkey kid, so I watched a lot of it. So I grew up with a dad, so I envisioned James C. Kirk was my dad. Like I said, if I wanted a dad, like, he would be the dad I'd want. And so that character in that series probably what made me want to take care of people and be brave and like, it probably also formulated my dating life too, in a way. But
You like the green women?
Hey, Mexican Iron Man I have been embracing diversity and inclusion in my dating life for 3-4 decades. So, and then I would say with He-Man taught me community, because I was the lone Mexican kid. My mom was able to afford to move us into this other side of town for a while. And I was the only Mexican kid. I was real self-confident, total introvert. And it was He-Man, playing with He-Man with the kids that I thought hated me, that brought us all together. So that taught me that race and skin color didn't matter, because if you look at the characters of He-Man, I mean, they're orange, they're blue, they're white, they're, and So He-Man taught me to accept everybody, and it was the bridge that, as a little kid, got me to feel included with the white kids, and we never,
Hmm.
and race was never an issue. Like He-Man taught me that everybody can get along if they're working together. I mean, whether it's a TV series or us playing after school. So that was profoundly deep. Luke Skywalker taught me how to be brave and stand up for yourself.
Hmm.
Um, and Battlestar Galactica, going all the way back to when I was a little kid, and I spent a lot of time by myself. It taught me to be urgent about things because you never knew when something, danger would be there. Like I envisioned myself in a universe where evil was coming, and I would have to, you know, help protect and be urgent about what I did. Of course, I
Dude,
ended up turning
that's
that.
reality, actually.
Yeah,
I
unfortunately,
mean, when
that
you're
is
stealing
reality.
hubcaps and radios and you're stealing school supplies and selling them on Wednesday, you got to be all kinds of urgent. You know what I mean? So
Oh.
Whatever turns you around. So, real quick, let me welcome to the stream, Max World Entertainment. Trey, so good to see you. He refers to me as I referred to Mexican Iron Man, my brother from another mother. Max World Entertainment. He is definitely someone to subscribe to if you enjoy Star Trek. He hosts a lot of Star Trek fan films, which honestly, in my opinion, are doing better than actual CBS Paramount with Star Trek these days. But one of his adages is exactly what we're talking about tonight. He says, instead of bashing what you hate, support what you love. And that's such a positive message. Now, I have not been able to live up to that. He's a better man than I am. I still bash the things that I hate, but I do like to focus on the things that I love. And that was really my real impetus for getting Mexican Iron Man on the channel, because I want to get people on to talk about just positive things in fandom. We've had so much darn negativity, not to mention negativity just in the world in general, right? Our fandoms are supposed to be our escape from that. And lately, they've been getting so dark and gritty and just
Right.
bad, right? In fact, you mentioned Mexican Iron Man. You mentioned Space 1999. The reason my ears perked up there was because Aged Boomer and I are frequent guests on Mr. Matchstick's channel on Tuesday. He does a show once a month called Cultural Fortress, where he's got 4 panelists, and we all go on and talk about some TV show or movie or something like that, game, whatever, that we enjoyed, that we can still go back and relish, right? That hasn't been
It hasn't been
tainted
caught
by
up in this nonsense. Yeah, yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And Boomer, was it you that talked about 1999?
I don't know if I mentioned Space 1999. I think I talked about UFO, which is seen by many as like a precursor series to Space
Yeah.
1999. In fact, Space 1999 originally started out as perhaps like a sequel series to UFO before it turned into its own thing. But it was another Jerry Anderson series, UFO, which is about it's like like 10 years in the future, and there's an organization set up to basically in secret fight back against these extraterrestrials that are abducting humans and harvesting their organs and stuff like that. But it was interesting. So
And they put thought into the why behind it, because you have all these crazy stories, and it's like, well, why? Well, they explain why.
But yeah, I have been watching. I watched the first season of Space 1999. I have to get through season 2 still, but I did watch the first season of that.
I think
Enjoyed it a lot.
that's and this idea of Culture Fortress, I think we need to see more of that in the fandom, because there's a lot of channels that spend a lot of time just dumping on and ripping apart things, when what I think would be really great would be to do some more talking about things that we loved as kids. Especially, Boomer and I are older guys. We talk about stuff that people have never heard of before. Just last week, we did a rewatch of Don Bluth's The Secret of Nim.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's a lot of kids that haven't seen that. And of course, that was a cultural touchstone for a lot of us. But it's the thing. You've never heard of it. You've never seen it. Check it out. You might enjoy it. Spend 2 hours, stream it. check it out.
That's for you can stream it for free actually on Tubi,
Exactly.
I think. Yeah, so it's on there if you. And Mexican Iron Man, you brought up Captain Kirk. I was a big fan of Captain Kirk when I was a little kid. I was introduced to him through Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. That was my first introduction to Star Trek, and seeing him in that really inspired me because I think what Dr. McCoy said in Star Trek 3, he says, you'll take certain death and turning it into a fighting chance to live, or paraphrasing, but I always liked Kirk for that.
Yeah. And D Pensek, with a couple comments, Leah's comment about the episode about the space monster that devoured people alive. I loved every episode. I actually, right off the top of my head, can't remember that one specifically.
I think I know that one.
The two seasons are really different, 1 and 2, but I loved it all. And D Pentak in the chat says that he still owns his own Eagle One. Dude, that was my favorite. It's hard. Okay, so I also like G.I. Joe. I had a bunch of G.I. Joe, like the lunar capsule, and my Space in 1999 were probably my all-time 2 favorite toys. As
when you say G.I. Joe, do you mean the 12-inch?
The big G.I. Joe 12-inch.
Joe Colton.
Right.
That was my G.I. Joe.
Okay, so exactly. He was a real man. Real man. And so now He-Man were my favorite action figures. Like I would love playing with the action figures to redo this. Like we would redo the episodes that we saw on TV, like as kids. So and then we would change them a little bit and that kind of thing. But those were the only ones. Like I never collected like Migos or Star Trek, action figures. I was never in any of the Star Wars action figures. But I was definitely into that Space 1999 Eagle One, man. And we were broken, poor as fuck. And so when I got that was like a big, huge deal for me. And I don't know what happened to it. It was my most prized possession. I guess at some point I just lost track of it. But damn, that was literally my most prized possession. Like if I could have, I remember I got in trouble because I was trying to put it in my backpack to take it to school, and I got in trouble.
So my, flocked-haired, full beard G.I. Joe 12-inch figure, which, let's face it, the articulation on that was better than any 12-inch figure that was out there at the time.
Yep.
It had the swivel arms, it had the kung fu grip, it had the twisty wrists. I mean,
did you have the one that had the beard, the full beard?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not old enough to have had the original Joe Colton that was clean shaven. No, I had the 70s fro with the beard.
Yeah.
In fact, I even had one of those 45 record stories, G.I. Joe and the Secret of the Mummy's Tomb. I did, go through that transition where it went from the 12-inch G.I. Joe, and my buddy had the Foot Locker that had all the accessories and stuff. But then they moved into the Mego era where everything went down to the 9-inch scale. And I got that with the green alien dude and, the Neanderthal guy and whatnot. And so I started getting all that because they went along with my Mego figures and my superheroes, including Iron Man, because Mego had the rights at the time to both Marvel and DC. So I could have Superman and Spider-Man. I could have Iron Man, the Hulk. I could have Batman and Robin. I had them all.
Were you doing crossovers when you were playing with them?
Yeah, but I did understand the difference. I did understand what was DC and what was Marvel. And I did have that Superman, Spider-Man crossover back then. Yes, young people, there was a time when DC and Marvel were able to work together on, cross comic types of things. Matanui, so glad you're here. I froze on the thumbnail. It froze on the thumbnail for me. Yeah, sometimes you just got to hit the refresh, but glad you're here, buddy. So yeah, I mean, we're all older.
Well,
guys
let's go
here.
back to the theme that you started with, which is that we got to start celebrating. I am increasingly of the belief that, well, let me. First of all, you're 100% right, and it just manifested itself last Sunday night. I don't know if you, as you may or may not know, I do Doomcock show every Sunday night. His long form pop culture breakdown. It goes from, we try to keep it to 4 hours, but sometimes it goes 6 hours. But it's a long show. And last week, I threw out the suggestion that I said, maybe we got to start talking about stuff that we used to love instead of always talking about stuff that we don't like. And so Kelvington, who's a great producer, came up with the idea. So he created a segment where now every Sunday we're going to spend time on the Sunday Pop Culture Breakdown show, and we're going to rotate. And Kelvington's going to have us talk about different movies or fandoms or shows that are classic, whether it's, because some of us are older,
Yeah.
some of us are younger, some of us are, I'm kind of more on the younger side of the guest. So, but whether it's from the 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s, that
Yep.
we're gonna go back to something and celebrate what we've got. And then for me, Troy, I think we're after going through what I just went through with Boba Fett and this Obi-Wan trailer, I I I I think I'm coming to terms with the fact that like it's like the 7 stages of grief. I don't think I'm going to get anything good anymore before I die or before I truly don't care. And I'm not that old.
I
Okay.
dig it. I
So,
dig it. But I'm
you know what I
glad
mean?
you're in there with Doomy because he's, despite the fact that his catchphrase is "stay angry," he's still one of the more positive, hopeful type of channels out there. But I sometimes feel him struggling, you know. And I think recently, especially during the Boba Fett, rewatches and whatnot, he was really struggling.
Yeah.
And I think there was you and Stephanie Janicek behind the scenes, kind of reaching out to him saying, "Hey, pull it back, stay positive." And I think that builds his brand, because I think a lot of the other
Well,
channels.
the thing about Doomcock is that he wears his emotions on his sleeves. I've known him for a long time, and I know him really, really well. And I mean, look, we have each other's cell numbers. Okay, so I mean, I know him really, really well.
Do you know what he
And
looks like?
he wears a helmet and he lives
Okay,
in
okay, no.
Canada and he has robots.
I was gonna stop you because if you said yes, I was gonna say that's it. We don't need to know anymore.
No, I know. No, I've never met him in person. So let me
Okay.
get that out there for sure. So let me make sure I'm not. People don't think I'm fronting or something. But no,
Yeah.
I don't know what he looks. And I, while it's highly likely that we probably will sit down and meet and break bread and have dinner
Sure.
at some point,
Yeah.
it's that's really not important to me. I know him really, really well. If Getting back on point though, is that the thing about Doomcock is that when you know him really, really well,
Yeah.
like interpersonally well, if you know this, Troy, he actually is a hopelessly positive person. And while he might say stay angry, he basically, if he wasn't eternally hopeful, then he wouldn't be. It's kind of like this: if you don't believe you can win, would you wage war? It's kind of like, let's go back to the founding of America in the 1700s,
Exactly.
right? If they didn't believe in what they were doing and they didn't think there was a way to win, would they have taken up arms to fight for what they
No,
believed in?
absolutely not.
And so he wants to see when he says he's fighting a pop culture war. Look, there's different ways to fight a war. You can tear it down, you can be negative, you can be acidic, and hey, I can be all those things on any given day too. But I am like Jim Cocky, like Tom Connors calls me. He says my Mexican Iron Man is like a tequila bottle half full kind of guy, and I am. I mean, I'm generally an optimist.
Tequila bottle.
Now, if I get disappointed though, I'm going to drop the fire like a motherfucker because I'm going to be pissed if I get disappointed. But Doomcock is I'm really I do think it's going to be it. But this is tough, bro. If you look at the 7 stages of grief and you think of, if we say that we love fandoms, what are the 7 stages? Shock and denial. Well, that was the Last Jedi,
Yeah.
right? Pain and guilt. How did I let this happen? How did I fall for this shit?
Yeah.
Anger and bargaining. Well, I'm mad, but maybe the Rise of Skywalker is going to get better. Stage 4 is depression, reflection, loneliness. God, this does suck. Then maybe you get to the point where you get to the next stages, which are the upward turn and reconstruction and working through it all, which is, I think, what I've started to see. Right now, I know probably a dozen people that have reached out to me that are creating their own books. Rod Thunderheart, I just finished his book. I'm going to be doing a huge review on it.
I'll do it. I'll do it since Tom's not here. Rod Thunderheart.
That was beautiful. And so, and then I think there's the final stage, which is acceptance and hope. And I think that's where I'm at now. I think I accept that everything sucks. I accept that it's not going to get better, but I hope that I'm somehow able to hang on to the things that I love and it doesn't change me and make me
You
bitter.
know, I would say this. I would say that, and I know you're a busy guy. You are very much in demand. So the fact that you're here tonight, I super appreciate. So I know you can't always, catch my show and whatnot. But one of the things I keep bringing up, not only here on Fridays, but on Aged Boomers on Sundays and in other channels whenever I'm a guest, is that I really feel that, what is the old adage, this too shall pass? This whole era we're going through with the woke bullshit, excuse me, it's my channel, I can swear, all this woke bullshit, right, is going to pass away. Because why? It doesn't sell.
No.
Okay. And as I always quote, Gordon Gekko, from Wolf of Wall Street, greed, for lack of a better word, is good. And it is good for us as fans because we're the ones paying the bill. And if they want our money, if they are greedy, they will give us what we want. And that is good entertainment that follows the canon that we support. Right. And over on Stephanie Janicek's channel, I've shared many times, and in my own group on MeWe and so forth, back when Disney picked up Star Wars and we were getting all the commercials for The Force Awakens, all the commercials had us excited, right? And I don't just mean the ads for the movie. I mean like the battery commercials and the toy commercials and Toys
Oh
R Us and
yeah.
stuff.
Oh yeah. Star Wars was back.
Right? Because you remember these commercials, right? There was the one
Lunch
of,
pails.
yep. And there was the one with the boy and his sister
Yes.
where he saves Christmas by going and
Yep.
rescuing his sister.
Yep.
And you're like, if this is what we have to look forward to, yes, right? And what was the little boy trying to start everything up and open doors and stuff with the Force, and then the car starts
Yep.
because he's
Yep.
Darth Vader. I mean, that's it, right? And we were excited. All of those companies understood. Oh, the best one was the Toys R Us commercial, the father and the daughter, right? Where he keeps trying to get his daughter to watch Star Wars, and she's like, right? And then they're in Toys R Us, and he's looking for her, and he comes around the corner, and there she's holding up a lightsaber. And he goes, I am your father.
Right.
And honestly, as funny as it is, I got a tear in my eye. I'm like, that's it. That's what it's about. We want the fathers to be handing off this fandom to the next generation. What did they do? They kicked all the fathers out and they failed to pull in the next generation. And now Disney is realizing what they did and going, oh crap, we got to back up and rethink this, So that's what I'm saying when I say there is hope, right? And isn't that what Star Wars is predicated on, is hope?
There's more than hope for the standpoint of like greed is good. I mean, that's part of it. That greed will bring things back into alignment.
Right.
But I'm gonna go even more hardcore. And the reason why I know things are gonna slide the other way and go back to normalcy is very much more practical. And I'm gonna say a couple things that, hey, I'm on your channel. We're drinking. It's a bar. What the hell?
It is.
Like number one, you take third and fourth wave feminism, boss babes. The vast majority of these chicks, have shitty ass businesses, wake up and they're in their 40s, and then they're all gonna buy a dog and die alone. So all these chicks that don't believe in, they want to, they just want to boss babe it, and they don't need a man. No problem. That entire group of chicks, those single mothers, which right now there's a shitload of them, no problem, because they're all gonna buy a dog and die alone because they don't know how to be wives or mothers, anyways, right?
Yep.
Then number two is that you take all these, whether it's the girls that want to become guys, guys that want to become girls, girls that want to date each other, none of them are going to replicate. They're not going to have kids, and they don't adopt kids. And then number three, conservative people with conservative values, even people that are progressive, which are now really conservative now, basically family-oriented people,
Yep.
value moral people, minded people, have more kids than these progressive liberal dipshits. Right.
Right.
To a
So
tune
there
of
is
to,
there is
so
a social
so
Darwinism that you're
there's a
speaking.
social Darwinism. Now, will I still be alive to see the pendulum swing back to some kind of normalcy? Probably the fuck not. But I'm not worried about the world in which my kid is going to grow up on because by basic human biology and the shitty choices of these third, fourth, fifth wave feminists, the shitty choices of them to choose to not to be great mothers, or they wonder where are all the good men at. No, how come we have an abundance of trash women in the dating marketplace?
So let me put another positive spin on this, right? Because I just had this conversation on one of the social medias where someone made, and people on social media, they just make up statistics, and he's like 70% of women, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to challenge you on that. You better bring receipts if you're going to start quoting statistics, because I honestly think you are getting that impression that, in quotes, most women are like that because all you see are these blue-haired weirdos on socialist media.
The most
Yes, I
vocal
said that right.
contingent.
Socialist media. They are loud and boisterous, and they're the ones pushing all this goofball shit. But I believe that the vast majority are people like my mother, people like Netter, right? People like Leia Plus Size, and so many others that listen to this channel that are incredibly intelligent, thoughtful women who love the men in their lives, okay? They love their husbands, their fathers, their sons, right? And
In
they're
fact,
not.
in the case of love, the lovely Sherry loves me so much she puts a virtual, gridlock iron thong on me, a chastity belt.
Because she's that Yandari. She wants to hold on to you, and no one else can have you. And honestly, from a man's point of view, that's what you're looking for in a
And
woman.
let me tell you something. As someone who's in the alpha, in the alpha male red pill, space, because I am. I mean, that's
red
why.
pill, red meat.
Yeah, red meat, red pilled. Well, I don't know if alpha male stuff, but the whole, there's a lot of guys who are very eligible bachelors, and they're just they the MGTOW guys. I'm gonna go my own way, and then I'm like, they like to talk about chivalry is dead. Chivalry is not dead for Mexican Iron Man. I still believe in flowers, candies, opening doors, holding chairs, paying for dinners, and all that stuff. And that's how my mom raised me. My mom said to me, I was raised by a single mom. And when I started listening, because I didn't listen much as an early kid, but when I started listening, she said, the best thing that a man can do is be a great man for a great woman, because the better man you are for her, the better woman she'll want to be for you.
Let me tell you, my mother taught me to always hold the door open, right? Now, notice what I said. I didn't say for a lady. I said hold the door open. A gentleman holds the door open for anyone.
Yeah.
Right? So the first time I got one of those, feminazi bitches that I was holding the door open for her, I don't need a man to hold the door open for me. I said, that's fine. I didn't hold it open for you because you're a woman. I held it open for you because I'm a decent person. I would have done the same for a man. But since you're
common
a bitch,
courtesy.
fuck you.
No.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm not that good a person.
Here's another funny story. Moving from California, where things are just hostile and tense all the time, to South Carolina, and I have never been called sir so often. Doors held for me. A little 6-year-old kid the other day was walking behind his parents, and he turned around and ran to hold the door for me. He says, here you go, sir. And he was struggling. It was so cute. He took his little two hands, and he was like, oh, and I was running to get up to that. I'm like, he didn't need to, it's glass door. And he looked behind, and I've got a lot of shit from a lot of people. They said, oh, you're going to move to South Carolina. They're going to hang They hang people out there. And, and this is just last year in May, right? They're like, you better watch out. Look, I've never been fucking treated nicer than as soon as I crossed the state line into like middle Arizona, Texas, New Mexico. I didn't stop in New Mexico because it's a shit state. My whole family's from my whole family is from New Mexico, so fuck New Mexico. Fuck every city in New Mexico. I got married in Santa Fe. I'm now divorced, but I got married in New Mexico. My whole family's from New Mexico. It's a loser state. It's a fucking like piece of shit. There's no economy. Fuck New Mexico. Go there to visit. Go look at a canyon.
So wait a minute. How do you feel about New Mexico?
That
You're kind of being
go
ambiguous.
visit, look at the Grand Canyon if there's any of that there. Go look at the fucking armadillos and the fucking sagebrush and get the fuck out of that
Armadillo
state.
by morning.
That state's a fucking piece of shit. My whole family's from New Mexico. Anyway, I got to Texas and all of a sudden life changed. I got to Alabama. I drove through Louisiana. I got to fucking South Carolina. And
Wait. Texas? You mean with all those racist Republicans there?
Well, yeah. Well, I guess I'm one of those, aren't I?
I guess.
I
guess.
You do you know what happened to me?
You.
Oh, you know what happened to me last year? And God bless. Who was it? Was it? Who came to my defense? I should know. The Shellback did. I got accused because I'm a supporter of a lot of geeks and gamers channels.
Sure.
I got called out on Twitter because I said something nice about, I don't know, Jeremy or Drunk 3PO or maybe it was RK. I don't know. Anyway, and so someone on Twitter said that, who the fuck is this Mexican Iron Man? He's probably really a white guy hiding behind a Mexican name in order to be a shill for geeks and gamers. I'm like, what? So I went camera on and stuff. But bro, I gotta tell you, it's like we have to band together, and that's what I think we're doing. And I love your positive spin. I think what you and Boomer were talking about, like if you do that on Boomer's channel, which I'll go check out those shows. I think we all have to do that. But Boomer, and I'll go do your channel too after.
You gotta keep in mind you're gonna be on Sunday nights. You're over on Doomcock, so you're gonna have to catch the rewatches on his. Basically, it's called Geeky Geezers, and what we do is we just break down the week's news.
You two aren't old enough to be geezers, you two.
Really? Here's the deal. The idea.
Come off as geezers.
Come on, bro. Boomer. Come on. Come on, bro. Seriously?
He is not a real boomer, by the way.
No,
he's younger than I am.
I know you are, Boomer. I know you're not. You're like geezer. Really, Boomer? Come on, bro.
Okay. It was the lovely Nanette came up with the title for the show. Now, my name is Aged Boomer. Came out of the meme, the 30-year-old boomer, when he's saying Quake is a good game. And I heard that meme, and I'm like, Quake is a good game. And I was like, well, Quake is a good game.
And he still
I'm not ashamed of thinking it's a good game.
His technology doesn't work. And I'm like, okay, Boomer, you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's that whole thing where you're not anyone who's considered old around and touched by it just gets that name Boomer thrown on them. So that's
real quick. I did want to highlight this note from Leia Plus Size. I'll tell you, Mexican Iron Man, you got the girls all fired up on my channel here. We're gonna get you a date, I think.
Yeah, so the lovely Cherie was in here too.
Lovely Sherry and Leia Plus Size.
Well, Leia Plus makes I do believe in treating women right. And there's, there was something that I realized myself. I remember, because I've always been math oriented. I remember asking my mom, because we would always go to Emporium and she'd buy all this makeup and clothes and shit. And I'd be like, I would look at how long it took to shop for me, and it would take like 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And I looked, I said, Ma, you should have spent a lot of time and money on clothes and makeup and all this stuff. And she says, well, I want to. And well, do you have to? She's like, well, I want to. And I'm like, and it dawned on me mathematically that women spend women, whether they want to or they have to, whether it's because they want to or their boyfriends or society. I'm not even going to go there. But the time and money that it costs women to feel pretty, look pretty, and be their best, whether they're 120 or 220 or whatever the weight or dress size or height or whatever, women invest in a shitload of time and money in making themselves look good, feel good, and be great for whoever's in their life, whether it's their kid, their man, their girlfriends, whatever. And we as guys, we don't have that. And so from a very early age, I said, look, the least I can do is pick up the tab. The least I can do is hold the door and make life easier. And
here's my theory. Okay. And I'm way overgeneralizing, so don't take this too seriously. Okay. But men tend to be very visual, right? They're turned on by what they see, and they will forgive a lot of character flaws because of beauty. Women are kind of the opposite. They will forgive, a lot of dad bod, kind of things if you treat them nice, if you are a gentleman, if you provide, if you aren't lazy, things like that, right? And I think that whether you are a religious person, if you believe in God or a creator, or if you are, strictly scientific and you believe in millions of years of evolution, however you look at it, we are designed to work well with women as men.
And they're designed to work well with us.
Exactly. We
But
are
we've got to be on
two
the same
sides of the same
page.
kind. They complete us, right?
Yeah.
We complete them. And I think when people understand that, you're doing good. When that goes caca, you're just opening yourself up to a world of hurt.
Okay,
So,
can I?
yeah.
I think that's well said. Can I shift gears on you and ask you a question I've
Hmm.
been dying to ask you all week
Hmm.
since I knew I was going to be on the show? And then,
Uh-oh. Here we go. I'm going to be on the spot, people.
well, I thought of it the other day. Like, honestly, I didn't think about this today or yesterday because I've been doing taxes up the butt. But
I would
Obi-Wan
imagine.
Kenobi trailer and
Yes.
Disney Star Wars. Optimistic, don't care, or where are you at on the spectrum?
Optimistic. However, I do know that Obi-Wan Kenobi, this series, just like Boba Fett, was originally intended to be a single film that got changed up and turned into a series for Disney Plus. My concern is we're going to get a lot of that pacing,
Padding, or no, I shouldn't say padding.
Maybe. However, this is what I'm going to say to you, Mike, and I'm going to say to anyone who would actually listen. And I don't think there's fuck all that actually listens, but just wait and take it all in first. If it's a little slow, be open to the fact that it ought to have been a single 2-hour film and is not, and maybe is a little padded, but look for the story there. Look for the character building that happens that might not have otherwise happened in a 2-hour film. Because honestly, what I saw in the trailer was very encouraging, and it's the things that I was looking for and expected. Also, I would suggest really guard your heart against being overly critical too fast. I already see the people that Stephanie Janicek and I both call the black pills already reeing about the interpretation of the Grand Inquisitor. Oh, he doesn't look like he looked in the Clone Wars, and he doesn't look like the other character of this other race that was in the prequels. And it's like, you know what? Hold the fuck up.
Dude, I'm going to tell you this. What someone is wearing and whether or not their alien makeup is right or not is the fucking least of our fucking problems
right?
in Star Wars.
My biggest, and they did this with Ahsoka Tano too. It's like if you look at the cartoon and you look at the live action version, everybody who's doing this, showing the pictures of the cartoon character
right.
and the Grand Inquisitor from
right.
the trailer,
right.
I'm putting up a graphic that people have done of the cartoon version of Dooku and Christopher Lee.
Okay, well, let's go back to Ahsoka for a second. Let's go with Ahsoka for a second, because when Dawson got cast and showed up the way she was looking, Mexican Iron Man was very happy because Mexican Iron Man likes himself some curves on his women. Okay, Mexican Iron Man is not trying to date a girl with a body like a Sharpie. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I get it. And this is the thing. You've got to understand that there is a difference between that. If you go from the prequels and then you look at their analogs in animation, you see things like their faces elongated and, so on and so forth. And it's like, look, you've got to expect the opposite. When they go from the cartoon character, they've only ever been a cartoon character. Now you cast them in real life. Guess what? They're going to look like a real human being now.
I gotta tell you, I think I'm at the point of with Star Wars, like Cameron Posh is. It's like I think I'm about to draw a line in the sand. This Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be like Picard. They better get this shit fucking right, or I mean, I'm out and I'm treating all the
Honestly,
Disney shit. Listen, the biggest fight that I've ever gotten about Star Wars is with my sister. Check this out. My sister loves Disney Star Wars. She loves all of it. She loves
she
old
kind of a Raylo.
prequel. No, borderline.
Okay.
No, she thinks that's gross and disgusting.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
But
So that she's redeemable.
right. Well, no,
There's still some good in her.
She like the Last Jedi, bro. My
Don't
sister.
give up on her. She's your sister.
Dude,
you can redeem her. There's good in her. You can
Troy,
feel it.
this is my little sister. I literally 3 days ago I called her. My mom was here. She was visiting in town for a couple weeks. My mom calls my sister. I said, "Who is it?" And I scream. I come down from the second floor, home office studio. I go down the first floor, grab a sandwich, and like I can hear her talking. I said, "Ma, who are you talking to?" She's like, "It's your sister." I'm like, "Put her on speakerphone." And and I said to her, I said, "Anita," she's like, "What? Breaking news." She's like, "What?" And I said, "Disney Star Wars sucks." And she said, "Finn is the best all-time character ever. I don't care." Bro, she bought a Mini Cooper, had it painted white, and her license plate is Finn.
Look, I got to be honest with you. There were things about those sequels I wanted to like. I wanted to like Finn. I wanted to like Poe. Hell, I even wanted to like Rey.
I wanted to stay awake in the Rise of Skywalker, but I did it.
I did it. The story sucked, and every single one of these characters, every single one of these actors was done dirty, right?
Right.
I mean, all of this stupid, subverting expectations. The only thing that I expected was a good film, and they sure as fuck subverted that expectation. That's all I can say about that.
All I can say is this: is that I have given up on modern Star Trek for sure.
Star Trek.
Guess what I was asked to do last Sunday? I asked Doomcock. I said, "Doomcock, I never asked the because he doesn't require anything of us because he's just happy that those of us that's invited show up." And I asked him. I said, "Look, since no one else is watching Star Trek, do you want me to watch it with you?" He's like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it." So I'm gonna watch it with him. So.
I gotta say, I totally get that feeling about, oh yeah, look, who's here? Captain Trek. Captain Trek is saying Star Trek is dead. Look, anything that I could say positive about Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, even Rogue One, okay? And I argue Star Wars is turning a corner. I have high hopes for Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? What is it? You are our only hope, right? He is at this point our only hope. But
Can
Star
I get
Trek,
your commitment though that if they fuck this up like Picard, that we will come back here and meet here and discuss it?
Dude, I will say this though. Okay, for all the shit that was given to Book of Boba Fett, if it weren't for the sequel trilogies, you'd be looking at that going, that's pretty weak, but you know? In and of itself, it didn't break any canon. It wasn't bad. Yes, there's a lot of things that could have been much better, but it wasn't The Rise of Skywalker.
And it wasn't Picard, which I just heard Mexican Ironman mention. I did watch all of the first season because I was watching the Red Letter Media reviews, but yikes.
Dude, I got a buddy, and I talked about this on the show. Actually, I'm not sure if I talked about it on the show last week or if I talked about it on Geeky Geezers, but I got a buddy who was subscribing to Paramount Plus specifically because his wife wanted to watch Picard. And he can't stand Picard, and he is disheartened just like the rest of us. He's another Klingon in the Chicago area. He's, like a lead Klingon in this area. And he's just so frustrated. But for his wife, he'll do anything. So he's trying to renew his subscription, and whoever he was dealing with on the phone kept fucking it up. Horrible customer service. Charged his credit card 5 times. And He didn't even get he couldn't log in and watch a show. So the next day, his bank called him and told him, we think this is fraud. And he said, I was trying to renew my subscription. They said, don't do it. They don't know what they're doing. They're fucking up your checking account. So he called Paramount Plus and said, cancel my fucking subscription. I don't want you. And he came to me, and I got the distinct impression he was kind of implying he wanted me to surf the high seas for him. And for him, I would. But after the second episode that he had seen, he's like, fuck this shit. I
And
can't take this anymore.
And that midnight's edge, we do not encourage people to surf the high seas.
Right.
However,
right.
if you do find yourself lost on the high seas of the internet, try Surfshark.
Try Surfshark, right? But I got to
That's my
tell
Andre impersonation, and
that's
with
very
that-
good.
that's not bad actually.
And
It's-
with
it's-
that,
It's true though. I mean, it's at this point I'm like, dude, for you I would do this thing, but for me, Star Trek Picard isn't even worth the fucking bandwidth. For free. It's
Well-
not worth it.
I have
And-
good news.
Hmm.
Guess what? Guess what?
What?
Andre asked live on a show for Culture Casino and Paulie to watch season 1. So I'm doing a season 1 watch party and taping their reactions live to season 1.
Oh yikes!
I heard you guys all got fucking roped into that, and it's like, guys,
No,
Weird.
we didn't. No, they volunteered and said yes. I am just the producer guy.
does Andre realize that all these other channels have pretty much stopped talking about Star Trek because no one cares anymore?
He doesn't care. He says it'll be entertaining to watch Paulie and Culture Casino. And I agree.
He's just what's it? You know, he should be like Steve Martin in Rocky.
Well, you know what Andre did with me with He-Man, don't you?
Yes, he's a sadist. He likes to hurt you guys.
Boomer, do you know the story, Boomer?
No, wait, I'm not sure. Hold on. Yeah, tell me real quick.
Okay,
Yeah, tell me.
so it's a Midnight's Edge. It's a Friday afternoon. Kevin Smith He-Man has dropped. Okay.
Oh, I heard this. But tell the chat. Yeah.
Yeah. So I managed to get through 4 and part of 5th episode, and Andre's like, and so we're gonna discuss that. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll watch it. I'll be on the show on Friday, and so I get on and said, Mike, have you seen all of He-Man? I said, well, I watched the first 4 episodes. Like, did you not watch the 5th one? And I'm like, well, I think I got like 9, 10, 11 minutes in, and I just decided to stop because I was already tired of it and think this thing sucks. Oh, so you don't know how it ends? And I'm like, and I'm just like Bambi. I'm like all innocent and shit. I'm just like all, no,
God.
Andre, I don't know how it ends. Would you want to tell me? No, I have a better idea. Why don't you log off right now? We'll read super chats. Go watch it right now and come right back. And
Yes.
share
I
your
was
reaction.
listening to the live stream when this happened. Dude, I don't know if he hasn't like clipped your reaction and put it out as a separate clip. He's missing out because that's friggin' gold. I
should tell him to
thought
do
your
that.
head was going to explode like you ate an extra spicy taco or something. You know?
Well, and that's why I think being positive and optimistic, we have to believe that these things matter because they matter to us, right? I mean, the Luke Skywalker turning on, having the courage to face Vader, that was an important thing for me to see because that is why I found the courage in myself to pick up a stick and stand up for myself when I was getting bullied as a kid by these 5 kids that would take my lunch money and they'd raid my backpack and they beat me up and they'd spit on me and they leave me on the side of the sidewalk. It happened every day for months in school at Hellier Elementary.
You know, let me tell you something, and this is kind of the summation of what I wanted to talk about tonight, right? Look at the original Star Wars trilogy, right? We hadn't seen the prequels yet, but now we've seen the prequels and we see the downfall of Anakin Skywalker. But it didn't matter because we kind of already knew the basic outline of that story. We knew Anakin Skywalker fell to the dark side, became Darth Vader. And Luke Skywalker, his son, you know, is defeated by him. And he's prepared to go back, right? And he says, I have sensed the good in him. I can help him. And what does Obi-Wan say? Obi-Wan's being blackpilled. He go, you know, I used to believe that too. I was wrong. I thought I could train him. I couldn't. You know, he's more machine than man. Look, we've seen this in Obi-Wan. I think we're going to see this play out in his show, right? I rip apart Revenge of the Sith, right? You were my brother, Anakin. Yeah, so you just fucking walk away while he burns to death? Fuck you, asshole. You know? But
Oh,
this is where he was. He had given up hope, right? And he'd given up. The only hope he had now was Luke. Luke was their last hope as far as he was concerned, right?
well, I think he
And,
left him for dead. He probably figured he was going to die, right?
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and everybody that tries to defend that is, oh, he couldn't bring himself to kill his best friend. So you leave him to burn to death? It would be more merciful to kill him. But
Well,
be that as it may, put that aside, right? Everyone else gave up on Anakin. Luke, who never even met him, never does. His introduction is a new hope. He is the new hope. And you see the fulfillment of that in Return of the Jedi when he is prepared to give his life, not just for the rebellion, but for the chance of redeeming his father who he never met. That's huge. That's a real hero, right? I think that more than anything else is what brought Anakin back. Now, I've seen some other commentaries that add some layers to that. You know, when he lost Padme, he thought that was it, that was the end. When he finds out, oh my God, I got a son, well, he can be my apprentice and we can take. But there's that little hope that's a little spark of the woman he loved. This is his chance at redemption. He knows that in the back of his mind. That's working on him. Right? That's why he doesn't kill Luke. Luke says it himself. He goes, that's why you didn't kill me when you had the chance. Right? That's why you won't bring me to your master now. Well, he does bring him to his master, but he thinks in bringing him to his master together, we can overthrow the emperor.
Right.
All in all, he's trying to protect his son. He doesn't want to kill him. And even in that last battle, you see he's fighting a defensive battle now. You know? And so I guess, long story short, I guess it's too late to make it a short story. That is the great example, right? Always keeping that hope alive, right? I mean, Luke never gave up. Why would we give up on Star Wars? Why would we give up because, we got 3 bad movies? I still have hope. Hope beyond hope, right? That's what the rebellion was all about. They had no reason to believe they were going to win, but they were going to fight on to the end. And I intend to do the same thing. I see Doomcock doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can be critical of Book of Boba Fett too, but by and large, I still enjoyed it.
Well, here's something funny. For all my shit talking, even on my darkest days, I still own 24 lightsabers that are mounted on my walls.
Right.
I mean, okay, so look, and just last week, I have the Echo Base Network meetup is happening at the end of April. And just last week, I had ordered a custom Sith robe, black Sith robe, because I'm going to go as Darth Poppy.
Darth Poppy.
Yeah. I'm gonna go as Darth Poppy, and I have to do a lightsaber battle against the Star Wars guys. Master Paul, I call him Padawan Paul.
Yeah,
but he challenged me to a lightsaber duel fight. So, for all my shit talking and all my negativity at times, look, and here's one even more, Troy, and I'll go out maybe on this note, but I'm going to Star Wars Celebration at the end of May.
Are you?
I am. I am. I'm taking and guess who I'm taking? My little sister.
Ah. There you go. There you go. Hey, I heard Paulie brought it up. Maybe this wasn't meant for public consumption, but he was talking about maybe having a meetup at some point.
We've been talking. It's funny you mentioned that. Let's go ahead and tell people in your chat, people who watch your replay. Boomer, you're certainly invited. Here's what we were talking about, and it's really sad that the COOF kind of screwed shit up. But we were going to start what's called the Latino Slant Taco Tour. and so what we're gonna do, and then then we also toyed around. One of the ideas I toyed around with that I mentioned to him is do it at all. Danny Trejo has taco joints from Miami to Chicago to
Cool.
he's
He
got 3 or 4.
does?
Yeah, he's got 3 or 4 in Southern California. Hold on, let me find the list. But Paulie has relationships with entertainers and film people and TV people all over the US.
Mhm.
And so what we were thinking about doing is doing a taco tour for Latino Slant, where we would do a series of meetups in
Mhm.
LA, Austin, Texas, LA, maybe Vegas, certainly possibly somewhere in Florida. I'm in the Southeast. So we're still putting it together. It probably won't happen until maybe late summer or the fall, but we definitely want to do it. We want to get sponsored so that way people show up. We're going to get sponsors so that way people show up. Everybody can be treated and stuff. And so for people that are fans, because I think what Paulie does is unique, and I think he does great work. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many YouTubers that I support, but I was looking for Paulie for a long time, and I stumbled across him, and so I really feel that I want to do everything I can to help him.
Paulie is a perfect example of that positivity I was talking about. He he's got both me and Netter, members of his channel, just because I want to support him as much as possible. And even, I'll go to all the different concerts he puts online and stuff like that, and I will support in any way I can. I'm not necessarily into all of it, but darn, I want to support anything that guy does. And he likes to talk about, whenever politics comes up, he's like, I'm the lefty in the group, and I'm like, you know what, I think, I don't know him this well, but I think that when he says he's a lefty, he's a classical liberal, which I think means I have way more in common with him as
Oh
a
yeah,
conservative libertarian.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
I think he
Yeah, I understand where Paulie's at because I was in California. I was in look. I did my first door hangers for Democrats when I was 12 years old. I was walking
Mhm.
precincts at age 12.
Hmm.
Okay, so for 30 years, I've been a hardcore Democrat, one way or the other, and
Yep.
I just thought for me to ever be called myself conservative or Republican was amoral and unjust and being a traitor to my own people. Well, then I got educated, Boomer,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
Well,
then
and most
so
most of the and look, I know a lot of white people say this, but in my case it's really true. I have a lot of friends that are Mexican and otherwise Latin, and every single one of them says their parents that came from, Mexico or Colombia or Guatemala, um, every single one of them votes Republican. They
yeah.
do not vote Democrat.
Well,
They
when you
feel
talk about the fandom shit, everybody talks about all these boxes being checked. But look, I was just thinking about this earlier today. You know which box no one ever gives a shit about is the Mexican, brown, Latino, fill in the blank brown box. No one gives a shit. But you know what?
well,
We don't. We don't either. We
it's
don't
it's
either. We
it's
don't. We don't want to. We don't want to have. We don't want to be tokenized Latinos, whoever we're from Argentina or Brazil. Whether we're from Nicaraguense, Salvadoreño, Cubano, Boricua. We don't. The vast majority of us, now there are some outliers, but the vast majority of us want to work hard and be recognized for what we do, and we want to take care of our families and be left alone. And we don't want to be tokenized just for the fucking sake of being
that's it exactly. And we had Leia Plus Size in the stream earlier, and she's often on with another friend of the channel, Wolf 10 Media, and they talk about this all the time. Wolf 10 Media talks about it from the black perspective, where all of this, and he uses that word himself. He says tokenization. He goes, this inclusion is nothing more than a bunch of white liberals tokenizing us, checking off boxes, right? And one of the channels that he put me onto is the Young Ripa. Is that it? Young
Yeah.
Ripa?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who talks often about black characters in comic books, and he points out this race swapping is nothing but tokenism. It is a pat on the head. It is condescension, because there are a lot of good original black characters in comics that don't get any attention. They never get movies. They never are acknowledged, they want to race swap Superman instead of giving us, a reboot of Steel, or something like that. You wanna give us a Green Lantern film? How about
John Stewart.
John Stewart? Because
Well, he
for a
was-
whole generation, John Stewart was their Green Lantern,
He got
black,
very
white, or
Oh, oh, oh.
otherwise.
Although, hold on, I'm gonna have to pull Green Lantern privilege. Hold on. Point of Mexican Iron Man, Green Lantern.
Point
privilege.
of order. Okay.
No. Point. What are the SJW saying? Boomer, like point of privilege or
Point of
personal privilege.
that one? Yeah, Boomer. That's it. Okay. Point of Mexican Green Lantern privilege. Hal Jordan is the best Green Lantern, and John Stewart sucks.
Oh.
Boomer,
you know what? If you
Boomer,
are,
you know why? Okay, let me talk to Boomer for a second on this. Boomer, okay, I know you John Stewart fans are like,
not my show.
oh, John Stewart is like an amazing Green Lantern because he's such a good boy and he does what he's asked to, and he's like an Eagle Scout. And when you're like in the fight of the battle, it's like, hey, we need a Green Lantern. Hi, I'm John Stewart. What can I do for the Justice League? We need you to do this. Okay, I'm John Stewart. I'm going to go and do that right now. And he goes, Hal Jordan, you'll be like, oh my God, the world's on fire. Hal's like, hold on, I need another beer. Okay, what's going on? All right, well, I'm going to do some shit. People may die, buildings may fall, planets may collide and blow up, but I'm going to save the day. We don't know how, but I'm going to get it done.
I mean, and it depends on, honestly, it depends on your age bracket and where you were in the comics. If you were a comic book fan during the Hal Jordan era, yeah, you looked at John Stewart like, any Doctor Who fan looked at the next Doctor, right? It's like,
wasn't it Kyle Rayner that originally replaced Hal Jordan?
No.
Yeah, who was a big, okay, hold on.
Kyle
Kyle was the super dipshit Green Lantern.
Okay.
Kyle Rayner, I don't think anyone likes Kyle Rayner.
No, that's like
Kyle Rayner was the SJW artiste Green Lantern, and it's like no. What you need in Green Lantern, and let's go back. Let's go fucking old school. Let's go Boomer here. Let's go, Geezer. Okay. So you had what was it? Was it the Brave and the Bold that had Green Lantern and Green Arrow in team up stories?
By the way, Green Lantern, Green Arrow is my favorite comic book series of my entire youth.
Yeah, that was the title, Green Arrow, Green Lantern.
Okay, so for all this social justice warrior, political, keep your politics out of my comics. If you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Fuck you, people. Let's go back to Green Lantern, Green Arrow, right? You had Green Lantern, who was the hawkish Republican conservative, right? And you had Green Arrow, who was the lefty loony liberal, right? And
as John Wayne would say, he was the pinko commie of the group.
Yes. And what were their stories? Their stories were them. They were friends, but boy, did they butt heads on politics and opinion. Okay, we got some great stories like that with Superman and Batman during the John Byrne era, too. But bottom line, they disagreed on philosophy, but they were absolutely united on their friendship. And there was never a doubt about that. That was a great example. And I would argue that those comics go down in history and storytelling like All in the Family with Archie Bunker and Meathead.
Yep.
Honestly, where you get both sides of it and you're sitting at the end of it going, I had an opinion going into this. Now I'm not so sure. And that was regardless of which side you were on. Mm-hmm. But fuck all, they can't manage that kind of writing these days.
No.
Now it's you're going to believe what we say or else.
Yeah.
Or we're going to take your toys away.
Hey, Boomer, how did you like my Jon Stewart impersonation?
That was pretty neat. I'm just saying I grew up with him on the Justice League cartoon. I know he was because I think they had started out using Kyle Rayner on Superman the Animated Series, and when they did Justice League, we're going to bring in Jon Stewart. And poor Hal, you're right, he didn't really get any attention until they started doing the direct-for-video movies.
You know,
And then they cast Nathan Fillion as Hal Jordan, which was a good casting choice.
A great casting, if you ask me. Leia plus size, reinforces exactly what I was saying. As a black woman, I find all this race swapping as nothing but an insult to me. All it does is divide and nothing else. This is it exactly. And these are the same social justice warrior, virtue signaling assholes that every year, on Martin Luther King Day, talk about, whatever, completely forgetting what Dr. King said. They don't even know what he dreamt about. He dreamt of a day when his children would not be judged by the color of their skin. Yet these are the same fucking people that want to keep pointing out to you what color and give special privilege to people of certain colors and, make up for the past. And guys, get past it. There's one race, the human fucking race. Get over it all. Got a new voice in the chat. Overland Pup, thanks for stopping by. Don't recognize you, but I hope I've earned your subscription today. If I haven't, maybe Mexican Iron Man has. My prediction.
Overland. Oh, I'm sorry, you were reading this chat.
Go ahead.
I said, Overland Pup says, my prediction that they would make Obi-Wan about a Mary Sue look-alike has a good chance. That black woman Inquisitor from the trailer is going to get the most screen time. And we talked about that earlier in the show, Overland. You may want to rewind the show if you're just coming in now. Mm-hmm. I think Troy and I are a little bit divergent on this viewpoint. I think he's a lot more optimistic and looking forward. I myself, probably I'm oversensitized. I'm at the same place of where... oh God, I was watching. Whose show was it? Was it? God, why am I blanking? I can't. Good God, I'm blanking on the show where I was just watching these guys earlier today.
Culture
Foul
Casino?
Ball. No, Foul Ball. Foul Ball. I'm sorry, Matt. Foul Ball. I was watching Matt's Foul Ball last week, and I, as a minority, am oversensitized to. As soon as I see another minority character, whether it's black, brown, Asian, I'm almost instantly at this point turned off because I just think I'm at this point. I feel that I've been tokenized so many times or someone of some color has been tokenized so many times. Now, when I see it, I instantly default to it's going to be tokenized. And the other thing about Disney, after seeing Mega with the Bad Batch, I just think Disney has a propensity to like have princesses in every story. So.
Orlando says, Overland Pup says KK gave an interview about how she didn't want Obi-Wan to be too dark. She had the script rewritten. She is not in the closet like you claim. I'm sorry. I think you're wrong. Where is she? We haven't heard from her or seen her in months. I think she has no power. She is not doing anything at Disney anymore. I think Star Wars is being run by Jon Favreau. And yes, you're right. Obi-Wan was rewritten from what she came up with and the bullshit she was talking at the announcements about it 2 years ago.
Yeah, probably when it was.
It's been completely redone. Her people, the director she put on it, was fired by Favreau. She has no power. I'm sorry. It's demonstrable. You're going to have to bring receipts if you disagree with me. You're going to have to demonstrate.
She lost that Children of Blood and Bone show. I know that was a big deal. That was supposed to be.
She's got nothing. Her name might appear on things because she put money into them, but she's got no creative control over them anymore. It's a new day over at Disney. But hold on,
I'm going to show you something real interesting. You want to see something really interesting?
Actually, I do want to mention something about this. It did look a little dark. You're right. I agree with you. And I think that is appropriate to the story they're trying to tell. I am not convinced yet that dude was hung. For all we know, he was being held up by the Inquisitor using the Force. We have no idea what those dangling legs are. For all we know, it could just be a spectator who's sitting up in the stand somewhere and we're seeing his feet dangling. Let's wait until we find out. But you're right. It could very well be that too. You're not wrong.
So what I found interesting is that so people may be familiar with IMDb. I'm an IMDb Pro member. I'm a listed producer in IMDb Pro
Hmm.
because I do produce a variety of things, YouTube channels, and other stuff that I'm
Sure.
working on. Share my screen. Can you hit the little share button?
You bet.
All right. So this is the Obi-Wan Kenobi IMDb
Oh,
Pro.
we didn't pay for this. Is this okay? Are we allowed to see this?
Yeah, it's my. I do this on Midnight Edge all the time. This is my
Okay.
subscription. This is my subscription. I regularly show this on Midnight Edge all the
Okay.
time.
I actually don't care. I'm just playing around. But okay.
So then we go to filmmakers, and of course, Deborah Chow has directed all 6 episodes. Joby Harold is listed as a writer. 4 of the 6 episodes are directly tied to George Lucas's creative, which means he's getting paid on them. Hannah Friedman too. And here's the interesting thing: when we look at the producer credit, this thing is really being show run by Deborah Chow. Yellow Flash released a video earlier today, but I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, 1 episode. Jason Gatelin, 1 episode.
Wow.
Okay. So what this means is this, because in IMDb Pro it lists who's the producers and then how many episodes are they getting credit for? Are they getting credit on in terms of actually being involved in the project?
Yeah.
So if that isn't a sign that things are at least going in Deborah Chow's direction, you don't see Kathleen Kennedy listed as a writer.
And the fact is that anything Deborah Chow's done so far, I've enjoyed.
John Williams listed as a composer for all 6 episodes.
That was a huge one. I think Midnight's Edge did something about that because he had said he was done with Star Wars.
Is that just for the title theme of the show, or is he actually composing music for each episode? Like
he's composed. What this means is that he's composed music that may be in all 6 episodes.
So maybe they can reuse tracks or whatnot.
Well, we know from the trailers
So I find this incredibly powerful and informative, in my opinion. So what I'm going to tell you is that if this series was just Kathleen Kennedy's little pet project with 0 oversight, and where everybody's doing what she wants, it's going to look a lot different. The first thing that I'll tell you that'll look different would be, who's listed as the executive producer for all 6 episodes. So,
Yeah, that's big. But even if her name appeared as executive, I didn't know this obviously until you just shared this. But even if her name had appeared on all the episodes as executive producer, I know what an executive producer does. That doesn't necessarily mean they have any creative control over it. It just means they put money into it and they're making an investment and they're expecting to make money out of it.
But look, until this bitch is gone, this bitch is gone, whether she's in a closet or whether she's got some control or a lot of control, it doesn't matter. Until this bitch is gone, none of us are going to be happy.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, Stephanie Janicek's been making several videos. She made one today that was spot on. You may have heard it. She's been saying, look, Disney, you really need to let her go and get rid of her if you really want to,
but that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's not the way corporate America works. That's not
and
the way.
She knows that too. She says that, but she knows that,
Do you think this has something to do with Indiana Jones 4 being delayed? If it had come out, they could have let her exit after that movie came out, but then are they waiting for that movie to finally premiere in
I'm
theaters?
Gonna repeat what we talked about on Midnight Edge, which is that my view is that this bitch isn't going anywhere. Look, here's the other thing. People make a big deal like, did she get her contract extended? A lot of times these deals are written with extensions in them and you got to cancel them.
Mm-hmm.
So she may have already had extensions written into her contract that were just not canceled. Instead of actively renegotiated, they weren't not renewed. And let me tell you this much. When you have a publicly traded company like Disney, you don't want bad press. And letting someone go of Kathleen Kennedy's stature on top of something called Lucasfilms, which has a lot of visibility, and then you don't have a good replacement, which they don't. They don't have a good replacement. Michelle Rejwan, probably a bigger fucking train wreck anyways in terms of being woke and younger and not as old and, probably has some more juice in it. There is not a good replacement. Now, maybe Favreau will become a creative director, maybe someone else. But no one wants to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. This bitch made working for Disney radioactive. First of all, working at Disney in general is radioactive for anybody. Whether you're writing a book or trying to get paid as a vendor, you're or trying to produce a movie, you can go down the list of people. no one wants to work for Disney in general because
Dude, ask the guys over at Hasbro. They are walking a freaking knife's edge over there. I've seen the interviews, and they're like, they are cutting edge, being politically correct and not saying anything to piss anyone off. But you could see behind their eyes, oh, for fuck's sake, this is just draining. I can see it. But anyway, yeah, I know, Mikey, you wanted to wrap up.
Yeah, I got to do 2 more tax returns, so I'll probably be up till 2 or 3 a.m. tonight. So I got to kind of sign
I'm
off.
Sorry,
right
thanks.
No.
Look,
For hanging out with us. We've been talking about doing this for 2 or 3 months, and we've been trying to get a date for the last.
You're good people.
Last month and a half.
Mikey, before you go, is there anything you want to share that's coming up? Any links you want to share? Anything? Keep in mind that almost every week, Aged Boomer and I are pushing Midnight's Edge. Stephanie Janicek.
I know. See, I already know that. I mean, we're already at the same. Look, what I do is I do Midnight's Edge in the morning. I produce the shows, guests when they need me. Midnight's Edge after dark. Loki's show normally on Fridays. Tonight I'm taking it off, but normally me and Loki do the Friday shows. We do Taco Tuesdays in the morning. Poly Latino Slant on Wednesdays, and of course the Doomcock show that I do for 4 to 6 hours on Sunday night. So.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of channels that I help support. Some of them are in the chat. Brandon, Brandon's anime channel. I mean, this is a second channel.
Yep.
So,
and you know what, Brandon? Make sure if we're not connected on what's that socialist media? Twitter. Shoot me a note. Link up with me because one of the things I like to do is promote all the other channels. If I see a link go out that someone's going live, I will share that out with everybody, and that gets picked up by the other channels. And, as PJ from Orville Nation always says, we grow together. Right. So definitely.
All right, you guys. Love you both. Peace out.
You.
See you later, Boomer. See you later, Pacelli.
Take
Bye,
care.
everybody in the chat. Peace out.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye. Okay, so Boomer.
Yeah.
Let's start winding this down. I know that it's early for us, but Netter and I do have an early morning, so I can't go too late.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I actually had originally, I'm going to show it on screen. Hold on just a second. I had a plan for after Mikey left, but I'm not going to be able to do it tonight.
So you're gonna do karaoke of the sorry, go.
We've been having a lot of political, there's some conflict going on over there in the Europe area, from what I hear.
Yes, the Europe area.
And and so there's been a lot of talk about sanctions and not buying things from a certain country.
Mm-hmm.
So hashtag not sponsored. Just sharing with you guys. So I went out and got myself a bottle of Smirnoff, which ironically, I just saw on the news today. Apparently, Let's Go Brandon has decided that he is going to raise those sanctions and actually officially on a federal level stop importing vodka from Russia.
What?
Stop literally buying everything from Russia, including vodka. So I do have my bottle of Smirnoff, right? I also have my bottle of Buddy's American Vodka. I mean, it can't be that bad. They're both in glass bottles, right? And what I was going to do is I was going to do a taste test on camera. But I have had so much blue milk tonight, I will die.
Man.
So I am not going to do that tonight. Maybe next week. Tune in next week when I do a taste test of American and Russian vodka, and I will tell you which one tastes better.
Did Smirnoff make drinks that were like single serves, like in bottles? Because I swear when I was a younger man, my friend Emilio and his friends, they would talk about wanting to drink some Smurfs. They used to call them Smurfs for short.
Okay, tell me what a Smurf is.
I don't know, but it was. I think it was a Smirnoff brand in like little bottles, but I don't think it was straight vodka either. So maybe I'm confusing with something else.
Something that's gotten very, very popular. And thank you, Brandon. FJB, because he does. I forgot that I had someone in the stream named Brandon, but you knew what I meant.
Oh,
So, in your opinion, no, in pretty much the opinion of most all Americans, even a lot of Democrats. But no, what's gotten very popular, and there's a YouTube channel that I don't talk about a lot, but if you're interested in the history of different, cocktails and how to mix drinks and so forth, I really recommend How to Drink. And they did an episode on pre-mixed drinks, and apparently the guy thought they were all pretty foul. But it's very common now to go into a liquor store and find, when if you go into a liquor store, or even a grocery store going towards the liquor aisle, there is somebody with, little tiny plastic shot glasses to taste whatever it is that, is on sale or whatever. Um, a lot of them are these mixed drinks coming from little bottles or like cans, and they've got mixed like Manhattans and martinis and stuff. And honestly, if you have a home bar and you're not mixing it yourself, don't even friggin' bother. But the fact is, it's gotten very popular, and there's a lot of people buying these mixed drinks. So if you knew about them back in the 90s, they're probably still in existence, and they're far more common than they used to be.
cool.
I like this one from Stephen Otten. Fuck Drew Burden, the Swedish chef. Absolutely.
I told you the Swedish Chef should be in the new Snow White movie with some of the other characters. Remember?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Sorry, I had a block a bot, but and it was one that it's a name that I recognized as being a bot previously. So I don't know.
Nicole Howard. I don't know.
I don't know. But so
wait.
next week, I don't know what exactly the overarching thing is going to be, but I suspect that at least at some point I will do a taste test of the two different vodkas, and I will tell you my opinion of American vodka, which I've had this bottle for a while and never actually tasted. Netter ordered it for me because I just run out of vodka, and she did the when you Amazon Fresh, and they delivered it, and they brought American vodka, and I'm like, American vodka, I'll give it a try, and I haven't yet. So it might be
cheaper than the other stuff.
It was significantly cheaper. Well, it's not imported; it's local. So I will do a taste test and tell you exactly what I think about. I'll find out exactly what I think of it. I mean, it's fermented potato
It's not.
juice.
You can't call it vodka anymore. It's potato juice.
Yeah, potato juice, exactly.
You can't call it that
dude,
anymore.
Let me tell you something. I don't know if you saw. I basically all the good stuff I share on the Twitter tweets I share on MeWe too.
Borscht is now beet porridge too. Okay,
there you go. I shared all these dumb fuck companies that are changing the name of. Not the name of. They're changing the spelling of Chicken Kiev from KIEV to like KYIV or something like that.
Oh, what?
And it's like, you are not virtue signaling. You are just stupidity signaling. This is a word that is written in the Cyrillic alphabet. Unless you're writing it in the Cyrillic alphabet, you are spelling it phonetically, and it's still fucking wrong, you dumbass.
That or they're not using real chicken in it. They should respell chicken with a Y as well. What do you think? Huh?
Well, here's something interesting. So just by the same token, I just got through talking about pre-mixed drinks and people that don't mix their own drinks. Same thing when it comes to something like Chicken Kiev. When people think Chicken Kiev, they're thinking about those frozen fucking pucks of formed chicken that's got a piece of butter stuck in the middle, right? With a coating on the outside. That ain't Chicken Kiev, people. Actual Chicken Kiev is an actual breast of chicken, right? That's actually butterflied and put a butter in it, and it's fried, and If you've never had chicken Kiev made from scratch, you've never had fucking chicken Kiev, you dumbass. No, I mean you're absolutely right, Matanui. That's all virtue signaling is just fucking stupidity. Bunch of people jumping on bandwagons, they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. You know, I stand with Ukraine. Yeah? Do you know what the Donbass region is and what's been happening there for the past 8 years? If you did, you wouldn't be all in for Ukraine. Okay? I'm not saying Russia's the good guys either, but Ukraine ain't either. Actually, neither is the UN, neither is NATO, and neither is the US, okay? Because you cannot condemn Russia for going into Ukraine and support the US for going into Iraq. Just saying. They're very comparable. So let's all get our collective heads out of our asses and start really using our brains, okay? You know, before we start doing the virtue signaling thing. But how's that for skirting the conversation and taking both sides in it, or neither side, as the case may be?
Just saying the opinions of Troy Pacelli do
It's
not
my
necessarily
channel, yeah.
reflect the opinions of Aged Boomer. I was watching a video earlier, and you know what I want to say? I want to say, yeah, but Putin bad.
Yeah, but Putin bad. You know, but even those that know, yeah, Putin bad, but Ukraine bad too.
I know.
You know,
I'm just
NATO,
saying.
The EU bad. US in this bad.
Hey, you know what's bad right now? The gas prices.
Oh, but we're gonna go electric. Somehow electric is going to magically shoot out of Joe Biden's ass and fill up all of our cars magically.
It's interesting how Elon Musk, the guy who's making all the electric cars, is saying, please, we need more domestic energy, all of it. And he was not, even though he's the guy who was really spearheading the whole electric car thing. But right, so
well, you saw what I shared too about electric cars. I'm like, oh, really? Electric cars, lithium ion batteries that require cobalt. You know where cobalt comes from? It comes from Africa. It's mined by slave fucking labor in Africa.
There's that.
You signaling about that, asshole?
D. Pensick says Ukraine was better when it was under the original Klingon rule.
Right? It's funny because when you talk about, Russian language or German for that matter, right? The Cyrillic alphabet and stuff. It's a lot of similarities to Klingon. It's absolutely true. And I what I was talking with Mexican Iron Man about translating brother from another mother, right? I said it doesn't translate into Spanish. It doesn't translate into. You learn when you study another language what does and does not translate. Why is something funny? Well, partly because it rhymes in one language. You lose the rhyme when you translate it into another language. So it doesn't make as much sense, right? Or you use an idiom that means something in the culture of the language you're speaking. You go to another country and it doesn't make a lick of sense, right? And Dr. Okran, when he created the Klingon language, said, now I'm going to get these points across because these are aliens that think very differently from humans. And he's got a whole list of idioms in Klingon. You can translate them literally into English, and then you go, the fuck does that mean? Yeah, you need to kind of dig into their culture to understand what it means, but that's somebody who takes the time to study and read and learn. That's why so many Americans are called ugly Americans, because they have all their opinions without knowing what the fuck they're talking about. And this ain't new. This isn't just the modern woke folk. This has always been the case. These isolated Americans who've never been outside the country and don't know what it's like in other countries. Hell, I'm 4th generation Italian. My grandmother had kind of lost touch with what culture was like in Italy. Most of what I grew up with, most of what my mother grew up with, is that so-called Italian American culture that you can probably see clearly if you watch something like The Sopranos.
Well,
or something like
it's
that.
funny you bring up The Sopranos because there's an episode of The Sopranos where they go to Italy
Yup.
because they have to contact, and the culture clash there of them being Italian American versus the actual Italians over there, and how there was some culture clashing over there. How it's odd because you are of that group, but you're not. It's like I love the movie Suspiria, and I'm part German, but of course I don't know Germany from anything else really. I mean, you lose contact when it's generation after generation, and that I think a lot of Americans do come from European ancestry, but if we were to go there, we would still be the outsider. Do you understand? It's kind of a weird thing, and I think that the director was playing off of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a channel, and I'm trying. Oh, it's Pasta Grammar, and it's an Italian woman, from Italy, married to an American guy, and they've got this YouTube where he will take different foods and have her try it, and she'll react to it, and she'll try like pizza or like pasta from Olive Garden or something like that, or just non-Italian foods, just American foods,
or like Pizza Hut or something for the pizza or something.
One thing she tried was spaghetti and meatballs, and she's like, no, there's no spaghetti and meatballs in Italy.
Yeah, they get angry about that. Yeah.
And she says the closest we got, and then she shows, and I can't remember what the recipe was she was making, but it's these little tiny meatballs that she makes, and she fries them up. And I remember my grandmother making this, right? She didn't like to make the big, American style meatballs, right? Because she's like, that's not Italian. I don't know what that is. Well, at least she knew that, right? But as my grandmother got older, I've told the snail story, right? About how she made the red gravy with the snails, and how little Troy was traumatized by that. But she used to make gravy like that for years, and then as she got older, she's like, I can't keep doing this. And then she started just buying friggin' ragu. She's like, it's good enough. It's a little sweet, but it's good enough.
Good enough is not good enough.
No, it's not. And then when I got older and I started, making, spaghetti spaghetti sauce from scratch, I was like, oh yeah, that's like how my grandmother used to make it. And I didn't want to gross out Netter with the snails. I'd put in mushrooms. She doesn't care much for mushrooms, but it's a similar kind of texture.
Right.
And it was good, but I'm like, damn, I see what grandma was saying. That's a lot of friggin' work. Well, screw this. I'll just stick with the ragu. But yeah, it's very different. And I'm just saddened. We live in an era where we have access to the sum total of all knowledge at the end of a keyboard. And people, what is it? Too many words did not read. It's like, well, fuck you and your ignorance. Really, you have no business having an opinion. You are entitled to an informed opinion. You are not entitled to an ignorant opinion. If you are ignorant and willfully ignorant, you need to shut the fuck up.
It's like the scene from Scott Pilgrim where he gets sent an email by some guy challenging him to a fight, and like one of the first bad guys in the movie, and he's reading it and he's going, this is boring, and he doesn't finish reading the email. And that's kind of what you're saying there. And then later on, the guy says, didn't you get my letter? He says, I skimmed it.
I skimmed it.
Because he got really angry because he was challenged him to a duel, basically a fight. And it was just...
So I have been guilty of the same thing that most women accuse men of. And that's, not reading instructions and, just, oh, I can do this. I can figure this out. But I learned very quickly that if you don't read the instructions, you're going to spend a lot longer, and you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to do stupid things. And you're going to break something. And you're going to break something, and you're going to get pissed, and you're going to throw shit. And, it's sometimes better to just read the damn instructions.
Take your time.
To the point that when it comes to a recipe, when it comes to, IKEA furniture, when it comes to anything, I read the hell out of those instructions. As long as I'm capable of understanding them. I got a 3D printer. I couldn't understand what the fuck I'd read if it hadn't been for Netter. Yeah, she read those instructions, and she is able to make the 3D prints for me. And she shows me how to do it, and I'm like, well, that's a lot easier than the instructions made it out to sound. But anyway, yeah, that's read the instructions. With one exception, reading instructions has saved me a lot of time and energy. There was one piece of furniture I put together that I read the instructions, and it was completely focaccia. It was completely smegged up. It really was. And I came to find out that, you know how these things come and they're pre-drilled with the screw holes and stuff. Yeah, this one was the screw holes were an inch off. I literally had to re-drill everything like I was making this piece of furniture from scratch. This was the one time when the instructions did not help. But it happens. It happens. You got to be able to figure these things out. So, what are we looking at for the rest of the week, Agent Boomer?
Well, tomorrow night, it's Big Al's channel, right?
Big Al's channel.
It's Godzilla, King of Monsters.
We're doing a rewatch of Godzilla,
the original,
King of Monsters.
With Raymond Burr.
Yep. Actually, it works out really great that we're taking an early night tonight because of Mexican Iron Man, because Netter and I need to get to bed because I got a doctor's appointment in the morning. So
okay,
I'm going to have to get up early, go to the doctor. And then I got these friggin' notes for this guy.
Oh, sorry. In fact, I have to get back to you because I don't know. I think Zootopia is coming on the stream to talk about the new Bond, the last new.
Right, we did talk about that. So,
and I think he is coming on, but I'm gonna want to confirm that as well. So I'll try.
But that shouldn't affect my notes. Let me just go ahead and get the notes in the thumb
out of the way, and then I'll text him, and hopefully I'll get back to you.
Because you're going to treat that like our good old
days. It's gonna be the price for the good old days. It's the not good modern days. And I'm going to be very angry on Sunday because I did finally watch No Time to Die. Because I was saying,
I have it on DVD and haven't watched it.
You don't have to watch it to take part in the discussion. You bought it, or you rented it, I take it?
I said I had it. I didn't say I bought
it. Okay. Well, I got it out from the local library.
Let's put it this way. There's a reason. There is a reason that I still have my Netflix subscription where I get the discs in the mail and then send them back.
Okay, I'm just saying.
But if it was worthwhile, I would have definitely paid for it. Okay. But no, I have not watched it, and I'm looking forward to your take on it because I may having it in my collection to watch if I should so choose. Do
you have all the other Bonds? Is that why you have it in your collection?
Yes. I literally have,
and I know how that is because I'm also a completionist. I have Bond movies that I have View to a Kill. That's not a good Bond movie, but I have it in my collection because for charge you buy the box sets, and there are things in it I like and things I don't like. And I had to really fight to get Spectre because they even left an open slot in the big Bond. So yeah, you buy Spectre. I'm like, when it went on like a Black Friday sale for like $5 or lower, I was okay. I'll pick.
Let me put it this way:
I'm just not happy.
I have, you know how I do with my, collections, right? And I've got, my Sean Connery, and I got, they've all got their separate boxes, which I kind of had to squeeze George Lazenby in with one of the other guys because, he's just the one. But I've got a spanning spine on the covers, and it's, James Bond standing, inside the board out, site, and I made up all these I downloaded these covers from somebody else, but he also makes them available without the list of movies on the back, so you can edit them yourself. And with the last one, the who is this last bloke who played
Daniel Craig
on the Daniel Craig, it only went through like 3 James Bond films, and I had to fill in the others. So I literally had done all the way to the last one, and the last one was 2 years before it actually came out, right? I just grabbed the poster, put it in and, did a little write up, and it just sat there with an empty, space in it for the DVD. So then when I heard about it, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, well, let me just get a copy of it, put it in there. I've got my completed thing, and
There you go.
maybe I get around. And I guess I didn't have such a hard time with Daniel Craig, because he wasn't James Bond. He was another James Bond. He was a reboot James Bond. He was alternate universe James Bond. This does not impact, Sean Connery through
True. Pierce
Remington
Brosnan.
Steele, whatever his name
Pierce
is.
Brosnan.
Yeah.
The continuity in those movies is very loose, because you can almost see how, like, some movies acknowledge Underground Secret Service, other movies don't. Like,
Yeah.
You got the feel like the Roger Moore movies sort of acknowledged later on, they were acknowledging Underground Secret Service, whereas like Diamonds Are Forever, I think, ignores it completely. It's just a very weird series,
and a
but
lot of
yeah.
what you're saying is ignoring, in a way, is also kind of like it's just a standalone James Bond movie that doesn't say anything about what went before or anything, so it doesn't really break canon.
It's a big thing that happens
If you
with his.
squint your eyes and don't look too close.
Yeah, well, that was the idea. I think they have with Diamonds Are Forever. They're just it starts out in the beginning in Japan, and You Only Have Twice starts out at the end in Japan. So I think they were trying to say, hey, just ignore that one. But it's plus there are even continuity errors in Underground Secret Service, because Blofeld in that movie has never met Bond, even though he did meet him in the prior movie. But because they were following the book, in the book he hadn't met Bond yet, then they were trying to make it close to the book. It's
not to mention, also there were.
I still like the movie.
They would have Blofeld, but they couldn't call him Blofeld because they didn't have the rights in that particular movie.
No, in that one they could. In that one they could.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying there was another movie that did that.
That was later on. I didn't. We'll go into that on.
But you can always kind of suspend your disbelief and go, I see what they were doing there. That was or that wasn't Blofeld, depending on how you want.
No, that was in For Your Eyes Only at the beginning of that. And when he dumped at the beginning, he just dumps him in the smokes. And you know what I said when I watched it? I said, "Yep, that's the end of Blofeld. There you go, boom, done."
Yeah,
and exactly. I laughed, and I'm sorry. You know what? That's as good as it's gonna get. Just deal with it. It's like, just throw him.
Yeah. So wait a minute. Let's back up. So I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning.
Yes,
I gotta make the notes. Then we got the rewatch. Then after the rewatch on Big Al's channel, I've been
We're doing karaoke. I gotta remember to look for that. Yeah,
I've been doing the karaoke over on Jedi Bill's stream, and last week I got some serious kudos for the last song I did. I did Dean Martin's Dream, and that was, I'd never done that song before, and
you know what you're doing tomorrow?
Pretty good. I don't know. It's been a rough week, so I haven't had a chance to really.
You could do the Man of Constant Sorrow song from Oh Brother Where Art Thou, the Soggy Bottom Boys. I'm kidding. I've been thinking about that movie lately for some reason. I guess I'm feeling like our current times is reflecting that.
I have to go back and check.
I need to rewatch it too. I haven't seen it in years, but I think I'm gonna have to rewatch Oh Brother Where Art Thou. I think
it is a good movie.
Yeah.
This weekend, daylight savings time.
Oh yeah, don't forget the spring forward, fall back.
Oh, so I lose an hour. That's
we're gonna lose an hour of sleep on Sunday.
Top of this
so
week.
Don't forget
okay,
that.
Great.
And but yeah, I the song I was thinking about, and I got to double check and make sure I haven't already done it on Jedi Bill's channel. I want to do The Impossible Dream from Man of La Mancha.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's Saturday, Sunday, of course, Geeky Geezers over on your channel.
Yes. My fingers
We've
crossed.
we'll be talking about James Bond. We're going to be talking about some of the other topics that have come up, and not everything that I sent you this week is meant for the notes. Some of it was
that's
just
fine. That's fine.
So.
I did appreciate you pointing that out too, and I figure we don't have to maybe have as many notes because I know we're going to be doing the Bond discussion. So hopefully. But we'll have some in there just in case,
Yeah, I'll be a completist on those notes. You can always choose to drop it when we.
I can ramble about those Turtles games for an hour anyway, but we'll talk about that on Sunday.
Honestly, I'm with you, Matanui. I don't know anyone who actually likes daylight.
Everyone, I think, even my state was trying to get rid of it. It's just no one wants it. It's one of these.
I realized a couple of years back. I realized that The hour change makes zero difference in how much energy I use. So it is absolutely not about energy. You know, I
It's just nonsense.
yeah, let's not even get. So that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Anything on Matchstick's channel?
I don't know if this is the week we're doing the anime discussion or not. I'll have to contact him. I got to see.
Yeah,
He's,
so check out Mr. Matchstick's channel,
yeah, yeah.
definitely. Let's see. Wednesday over on Soundtracks with Birdman.
We're doing THX something, the George Lucas original.
11:38.
Yes.
Does that movie have a soundtrack? Fuck if I even recall.
Lalo
it having
Schifrin, apparently, the guy did the soundtrack to Dirty Harry, did the soundtrack to THX 1138. So
I'll probably catch that on the rewatch.
yeah,
But
I
I'll
haven't
be
seen
looking
that movie
forward
in
to that
years,
because
but
I honestly don't remember the soundtrack.
it's on HBO Max. So there you go. I'll just watch it on there.
Very good movie, but very, very strange in that very early 70s,
That's
sci-fi
future
style.
dystopia type movie, right? It was an interesting movie. I remember that when I saw it, but I just haven't seen it in years. So
Check out some behind the scenes if you get a chance, because there was some very, just like Star Wars. I think THX 1138 gets a lot. It was a sleeper. A lot of people missed it, and there's
got
a
swept
lot of
under
good stuff in there as far as, I'm not going to say as far as special effects, but like sets and lighting and what they did with that kind of stuff on very low budgets. Very, very clever stuff.
Cool.
Talk about just confined camera angles, where they got the shot they wanted, but just outside of that was just cardboard and tape. It's really, really good stuff. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, nothing.
No.
That brings us around to Friday. Don't know what I'm going to be doing other than
The vodka taste off.
A vodka taste off. Just to let you know, I am working on other guests like I did tonight with Mexican Iron Man. I don't want to say too many of the names that I have, but I am looking for other positive voices in fandom. For example, there is one channel called Positive Fandom. Check them out. That is, if you're a follower of Midnight's Edge, trying to get her on the channel. She's like Mexican Iron Man, very in demand, but going to try to get her on because she's just this really sweet, positive voice in fandom that I think uplifts all of us, right? I am also just before I got on here, I stopped by Harwin Avalon's stream every 2 weeks. She does a drunk stream just like me. And I was like, ooh, there's a certain brand synergy there. And I asked her if she'd be up for coming on one of her off weeks, but she's kind of booked up for at least the next 3. So we'll see if maybe we can get her on next month or after that. And yeah, that's some of what I have planned. Like I said, I got some other guests in mind, but they're longer term and bigger names, and we'll see what we can do with those. But in the meantime, just want you to know that I am trying to bring some good content to you. I'm always open to your feedback, anything that you guys think would be good. You'd like to see me a topic you'd like to see me focus on, another YouTuber you think would be a good guest, any one of you that would like to be a guest on here and talk about some things, hit me up with a DM. We'll see what we can work out. Okay. Any last words, Age of Boomer, before we close it out?
No, nothing. It was a great stream tonight, though. Great having Mikey on here from the Mexican Iron Man, and
good stuff. Good stuff. Glad we did that. So if you were new tonight, it would super encourage me if you'd hit that subscribe button. Love to see you back in the future. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great one. Take care. Until next weekend.
Good night.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.